that's the big question, isn't it? Like, how does the West create some type of environment where all this is able to be, um, we're able to match this intensity, whether it be in manufacturing cars or in other areas, while maintaining what we have created, which is unique in the West. I mean, the freedoms that we have, and the way of life and all of that type of stuff. We're getting a bit philosophical here, but that's the big question, because I think some of the things that naturally there is a tendency in the way the West is built to then go off onto these extremes in whatever it may be. The political system, for example, you can easily see the slippery slope to, you know, um, just chaos, because everyone's kind of fighting and infighting and all of that. And a lot of money's being spent on that. Whereas, a system like that is very orderly and doesn't, have that same type of chaos. So they can focus a lot harder on things. So I guess the big question would be what is the takeaway from the trip, um, in that regard? Like, what could the West, or what could Western countries use to it's what could Western countries do, or copy or emulate, that is good, while maintaining what we have?
That's a very good question. My thought is, if you want a stable, prosperous world, I think you achieve that through trade and through sort of trips like this, where
Hmm.
American people see what China's really like. Because nobody would go there and do a trip like this, and we haven't even gotten to the best part, and come back and think, oh yeah, that's exactly what I saw on Fox News. It's just the way I
Mm,
thought it would be. Like, that's impossible.
mm,
Nobody would ever do that. I mean, so if you want to like maintain that hostility towards the Chinese government or their system or whatever, I mean, if you're going to maintain that, you have to never set foot in China. You have to just put the
mm,
blinders on, not take in any outside information, and just believe everything you hear. So
mm.
the inverse is that you find ways, which by and large we have done, to make use of what China's very good at, which is manufacturing, for example,
Hmm.
and benefit from that here, right? While preserving things that we're very good at. For
Yeah.
example, software, finance. I mean, there are a lot of things that Americans are still the best in the world at. And so rather
Mm,
than trying to be the best in the world at something that they're already really good at,
yeah.
right? Just
Mm,
we have our lane, they have theirs, and then we trade.
Yeah. Like we're
And
trying to
that
play a game that we were trying to play a game, the manufacturing game that we kind of gave up playing a long time ago.
yeah. Yeah.
We're great at scientific innovation. We're great at R&D. Um, we're not great at kind of using our fingers to put stuff together. I mean, we're great at it, but it's just too expensive.
yeah,
Um,
our fingers cost
you
too
know,
much money.
our fingers cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And those labor intensive kind of jobs, uh, they're not our thing. And you know what? That's been okay for the longest time.
Mm,
Um, but I think what we can learn from China though is, let's get on the same page at least. I remember in various fields, governments would say things like Western governments would say like, we don't pick winners and losers. Well, that just means you're going to have a bunch of losers probably because you're going to spread
yeah.
your money
Yeah.
out
That
across
type of
all
thing.
these different groups and nobody's going to be dominant, nobody's going to win. And whereas, the Chinese mentality is like, okay, these are the priorities. They're national freaking priorities. We're not
Yeah.
keeping them
Hmm.
secret.
Hmm.
Everybody in the
Hmm.
world's going to know this is what we're focused on because they're really important for the world. And lo and behold, big surprise, the Chinese dominate. So,
Well, they
you know,
dominate those certain things.
those certain things, right? And we could have very similar kind of. It's really just focus, and getting everybody on the same page. Like, the governments have the opportunity to say these are important industries. okay, maybe we're not going to be manufacturing and competing head to head with China, but we can
Mm.
be the leaders in. I mean, think of microprocessors. Where were all the best microprocessors designed and conceived? I mean,
Silicon
Intel
Valley.
was a giant, right? And you had
Mm.
Digital Equipment Corporation, you had HP, you had all these people designing all the best processors in the world. Not a single one was made here,
Mm.
right? But they were all designed here. All the iPhone, right? Where every
Mm.
single thing in that phone was, well, not everything, but the big stuff was all conceived here. Um,
Mm.
Final executions in China and Malaysia, wherever. But so we know what we're good at, and we know
Yeah,
what we're
and
not good
and
at.
in the spirit of trade, those iPhones are made in China, but it still costs you over $1,000 to buy a new iPhone in Shanghai.
Mm.
So, an American company is getting real money from Chinese people for
Mm.
their world-class product.